Hello, my name is Oksana Fetzeluk. I'm the recruitment specialist in the Faculty of Science and have been for quite some time. And today's webinar is pretty short because we're hoping to just really explain our programs in the Faculty of Science. A lot of students email us or connect with us trying to learn more about the general specialization and honors streams. And so we've hosted 2 webinars already on general sciences and specialization. And today we're doing our webinar on Bachelor of Science honors programs. So before I talk about the honors programs, I did just want to highlight why you might be interested in the Faculty of Science and what we have to offer you. We might be a large faculty on campus, but that does not at all change the quality of education that you'll receive in our faculty. You're going to have a degree that's going to be both challenging and innovative, and you'll become part of a small science community within a large university. So what are some things we pride ourselves on? Lab training. So lab training is really important because you're going to learn effective experimentation and specialized lab techniques, and you'll be able to operate and understand complex apparatus. So by the time you graduate, you're going to be very well versed in labs. And we also have the highest number of contact hours and the lowest lab fees in our first year science labs compared to any other university. We also have lots of unique learning sites on campus. So these facilities and unique learning sites are available to students and also to the public. So you'll have access to them as you go through your degree. So some examples are the Paleontology Museum. We have a biological sciences greenhouse right on the top floor of the biological sciences building. We have a dino lab where they actually bring fossils that they're collecting out, on the grounds in Alberta, and they're dusting and scraping away at them. We have an astronomical observatory, so they have really high-tech telescopes up there, so you can actually view the solar system. We have a geoscience rock garden just right around our building, so students in the Earth and Atmospheric Science labs actually come out and do their labs right there. We have a hardware hackerspace where you can do 3D printing and woodworking. So that's just to name a few. So you'll have access to all of that as a student. And we also have hundreds of courses to choose from. So you can take science courses, but you can also take courses in arts and other faculties as well. Plus we offer interdisciplinary and online courses. Our professors are some of the best in the world, and they are recognized worldwide. These same professors that are teaching your courses are actually also doing research on the side. So that passion really carries through when they're teaching you courses. And they're always available to assist students. So if you ever have questions, you can access them with an email or during their office hours. Research is also a really big part to undergraduate degrees at the University of Alberta. And you don't have to wait until upper years to get involved in research. You can start research as early as year 1. And lastly, you will have a list of resources to access as a student in science. So we have a dedicated team of advisors in student services. There are lots of academic support services that can help you with your math and statistics homework or your chemistry lab reports or your physics assignments. And yeah, we're always here to support you. So now that we've touched on that, I do want to start talking about the honors degree. So before I continue, I just want to let you know that the chat is disabled in this platform, but you have a way of asking questions using the Q&A button. So if you think of something and you want to ask us, please feel free to submit it in the Q&A and we will get to all questions at the end. I should also mention that we do have 2 special guests with us as well. So we have Tina and Julia. They are current science students in our faculty, and they're both in an honors program. So they'll be coming up in about 10 minutes to talk about their experience in the Faculty of Science. So we have a lot of options in our faculty, and there's actually 4 degree types. So I mentioned that we've already talked about the general and the specialization science and education program, but today we're finishing off and talking about honors. So we have one more webinar left after today, and that will be next week, and we're talking about the experiential extras, so things that you can add to your degree. So if you're interested, you can register for that, and it's on Wednesday, October 7th at 5. So what can you study in the Faculty of Science? Well, you have quite a large selection of subjects. So obviously, if you're in high school, you're familiar with biology, chemistry, physics, and math, but we also offer computing science, earth and atmospheric sciences, statistical sciences, psychology, and then the medical and health sciences. So really, there should be an area for all of you, and hopefully, by understanding how the honors program works, you can determine whether or not this is a good fit for you. So an honors program in the Faculty of Science is actually the most academic program that we offer. So It is very similar to a specialization program because it'll provide excellent in-depth training in one specific field of science. But the main difference is that you need to maintain a higher GPA during the year than you would in a specialization or in a general science program. You are also going to take a research capstone course, which is the biggest difference from specialization. So in your fourth and final year of the degree, you'll have to do a year-long research capstone course to complete your degree in the honors stream. You will have a departmental advisor, so someone that's actually in the department in this field that you can ask for advice and for assistance with course selection and other opportunities. And this program is intended to be full-time. So unlike the general science program, which is actually considered part-time or full-time study, the specialization and honors streams are both only full-time study. In an honors program, the typical course load is 24 to 30 credits in each fall-winter term. So that would mean that you're taking 8 to 10 courses in the fall and winter of every year. So obviously, if you are only taking 8 courses, for some programs don't allow you to take less than 30 credits, and you'll see that when we talk about it a little bit later. But if you're doing only 8 courses per year, it will take you a little bit longer to finish your degree, so you can take more classes in spring and summer, or you might just opt to do the 30 credits. The individual research project that I mentioned that you'll do in your 4th year is really meant to prepare you for a career in research or even pursuing graduate studies. So you're going to learn to pose your own research question, and you're going to collect, interpret, analyze, and present the data. So you're going to really develop the independent and critical thinking, in order to reach your own conclusions. You'll also fully understand the scientific method and the scientific process. You'll be able to hone in on your communication and writing skills, and you'll also develop close ties with your department because it will make it easier to secure a supervisor for graduate study. So it's not to say you can't do research in a general science or a specialization degree. You absolutely can. You'll just have to seek out that research on your own. With an honors degree, it's automatically built in, and you'll be doing it in your 4th and final year. So that really is the main difference, and is also just more academic. So to summarize, this program is full-time. The highest GPA is required in the honors stream, so from a 3.0 to a 3.3 to continue in your program, and you're doing the research capstone course. All right. So what can you study for the honors programs? So normally, if you were to enter general sciences, you would have to pick a major. You would major in math, you would major in physics, maybe in biological sciences. But it's not really being very specific in that field of study. So honors programs go a little bit further into that specific discipline. So you might study, perhaps you're interested in a medical science area. So you could study neuroscience, pharmacology, immunology and infection, cell biology, biochemistry. In a general science program, you could definitely take those courses, but you can mix them up and take a bunch of those courses. In this particular stream, if you choose an honors neuroscience program, your entire degree is devoted to neuroscience. And so you're going to be specializing in that particular area. If you're interested maybe in physics, you could do astrophysics or geophysics. Maybe if you're interested in like fossils, you could do paleontology. Or if you're interested in Earth, you could do geology or environmental earth sciences. So you're really going to hone in on a specific subtopic within a discipline. So I'd like to call on our students because they're the ones that are going through it right now, and they'll give you a way better idea than I ever could about what is required in an honors program. So I'd first like to present Julia, and she'll come on and explain who she is and what her journey's been in the Faculty of Science.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Julia, and I'm going into my 4th year of neuroscience. Well, I'm in my 4th year of neuroscience. So I'm originally from Calgary, and I went to high school there. So I went to Bishop Carroll High School, if that's familiar to anyone. In high school, I took AP. So I was in AP Calculus, I was in AP, I need to think. AP Bio and AP Chemistry, so far back it feels. Anyway, and I really enjoyed the AP program, and it also helped me out in university. So I think it's definitely a great program to be a part of. I chose to come to the U of A because there's so many opportunities here. I kind of researched a lot when I was kind of deciding where I wanted to go. And I settled on the U of A after learning about specifically like the research facilities here. I knew I wanted to get involved in research, and I was really excited for the opportunities that that would afford me. And I knew that the U of A had tons of great undergraduate resources so that undergrads can get involved in research. An example of this is the Undergraduate Research Initiative. They have really great resources for students to kind of like guide your hand and kind of hold you through the research process. They also provide funding, and you can write articles for their undergraduate journal, which is really interesting. And you can do as an undergrad, like I said. I also chose to come here because it was a great community I found. I was able to tour residences, and it looks a little bit different this year, but during my time I was able to tour residences and kind of see what everything was like. And I really liked the community. Everyone is so friendly here, and there's so many different ways that you can get involved, and there's really something for everyone. I think there's so many different clubs and opportunities to be a part of that it's kind of like a little city within Edmonton, and you can always find something to do or some different way to grow or learn. So I started in the neuroscience program, and I continued in the neuroscience program. And the reason is because I just like fell in love with it. One, I really love studying neuroscience, but also I really love the way that the honors program is set up. I love how it feels a lot smaller because you're able to kind of develop a cohort of people who are within your program, and you kind of travel with them through all your courses. So even if there's more people in your course, you'll always kind of know like a group of 20 or 30 people that's kind of in your cohort. And then I'm also doing the honors thesis this year. So in the neuroscience program, you're able to choose between two kind of research streams. One of them is a less intensive research stream, and more for you can take more courses in that stream. And then the stream I'm doing is more research intensive. So you take less courses and you spend a significant amount of the year doing research, and that's what I'm doing. My research is in lab studying microglia and Alzheimer's disease. So that's really cool. I'm really enjoying it so far. It's a really great opportunity for students at this level to get so like deeply involved in research. You also make a lot of very valuable connections, I think, because you're working directly with PhD students or with professors, and later down the road they can provide you with references or like provide you with more connections and stuff too, which is awesome. Other opportunities, sorry. So I've been involved in a lot over my time here at the university. So one of the main programs I'm involved with is the Faculty of Science Mentorship Program. So through that, I'm actually a senior mentor for that. And we advise first-year science students. And I think one thing that's great about the program is even during this like virtual world, there's so many opportunities to get connected with other students. And the Science Mentor Program is an example of that. We've established these online cohorts where we're meeting online and playing games and kind of establishing like little communities so that students in their first year are able to connect with people, sometimes people who are studying the same courses as them, but from all across the globe. So it's really awesome. You kind of get to establish these small little communities online. So there's definitely lots of opportunities to still get involved online. I'm also involved with the UAlberta ambassadors. So I'm an ambassador there, and I lead live campus tours. I'm also part of the community action team for the ambassadors. So I plan like volunteer events for people. Another big thing I'm a part of is the Peter Lougheed Leadership College. And I think this is a really unique program at the U of A. It allows you to study leadership. So these are additional courses that I take in my degree. And I'm able to study leadership and study more humanitarianism, social sciences, which is really neat that you're able to kind of add on those unique elements to your degree. So you can really, I think, follow your interests. So even if you're just in neuroscience like I am, I'm still able to take sociology, or I'm able to take political science, and I'm able to explore all my different interests. And that's the same with anyone. If you're in maybe, I don't know, physics, but you have a great interest in history, you're still able to also explore that passion too. So I think that's a really great thing just about how honors programs and programs are set up in general. And with the Peter Lougheed, you're able to do a 200-hour stretch experience where you design your own leadership experience of how you can contribute to the community. So for me, I got to work for a nonprofit in the summer. So that was really cool. So I guess my takeaway is that there's so many awesome ways that you can get involved at the U of A. I think it's as soon as you start learning more, you kind of start digging and digging more, and you find more and more and more opportunities. There's just so much here, and there's really something for everything, for everyone. So you can kind of find your passions and really grow over your time here. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Julia. I'm glad that you touched on how you can add, other electives to your degree program. And that reminded me that I forgot to mention that in an honors program, you don't have a minor. And so that's a really big difference from a general science program, because in a general science program, you have 2 areas of study. You have a double major in 2 science areas, or you can have a major in a science and then a minor in arts, science, nutrition, human ecology, business, or agriculture. So in an honors program, you just have a major and you don't have a minor because, like I said, you're focusing on that. It's also definitely a more structured course curriculum. So in a general science program, students will kind of pick and choose the courses they want to take year to year. But in the specialization and honors streams, your course plan is actually laid out for you in the University of Alberta calendar. So you follow that. And you do have room for some electives. And like you heard from Julia, she's added quite a few other electives. So you still have the opportunity to add other courses to your degree, but certainly not as much as you would if you were in a general science program. So our other student who's here is Tina. So I'll call on Tina to come on and introduce who she is.
Hi everyone, my name is Tina and I'm going to actually my 4 years of Bachelor Honors Psychology. So okay, no worry. I'm actually an international student coming from Vietnam, and I actually been here for about 7 years now. So I get used to and really enjoy being here in Edmonton, even though it's a little bit cold for a while. I took partial IB in high school, and I take mostly science and math. So I take biology, chemistry, physics, and math, and also Chinese IB. And the reason I chose to go to U of A just mainly is I really like the neuroscience program, first when I look at it, and also a lot of joys of programs that are provided by U of A. And so I was kind of looking up some kind of extracurricular activity that U of A offers, student club, and what I can involve with the communities. Another reason is that my family is here, so I kind of want to stay along and get to stay with my family because it's kind of nice. But also, just so if you don't know, international student fee is a little bit costly, and at U of A, the tuition is fairly reasonable and affordable for my family. So that's one of the reasons as well. I initially started in neuroscience and then switched into honors psychology at the end of my second years. It was a tough decision, but like for me at that time, I was kind of find myself a little bit struggling with the workload. So I was like, maybe I should switch. But then part of me was kind of like, I still really enjoy being in honor program because I get to know a cohort, a group of people that I work with, and I all know that we have a common interest, which is psychology or neuroscience. So that's one reason that I decided to switch into psychology. I still get to study the brain, which is nice. And the nice thing about honor degree is, as Julia mentioned earlier, is that yes, you do get to know a lot of people and like a smaller group. So essentially you go to a lot of class and you see familiar face, study group together, and we all kind of root together and talk about things, which is really good because like a great thing about learning is you bounce ideas with each other, and if you're in the same field, it's easier to talk to you because it feel like you have a common language. It's like come and say, oh, what did you learn today? It's like, oh, the neurons, axons, those kind of things, which is cool. And then also is I really like that honor program have an advisor, which is really easy for me to offer up if I have some issue and talk about in the honor degrees. And definitely give me a lot of advice on like academics and like how to manage stress and so on. Another nice thing about honor degree is the research, which I love it. Actually, in honor psychology, I get to do it in my third and my 4th years. So in my 3rd year of honor degree, I actually get to know in a group and also work with a supervisor. But I wasn't like working on my own project, but more like helping and get to know about how to work in lab, how to coordinate and communicate with people in my lab, kind of thing, and get to collect data as well. And then this year in my 4th year, I'm also working on my own thesis project. So my project is a bit about game So the game that I'm testing in my lab is rock, paper, scissors, but the bigger picture is looking at how people make decisions in like a stressful environment, like making decision is like choosing joys in competitive environment. I think throughout my degrees, not only just studying honor, but I also get involved a lot of student club, and one of it is science mentors. I've been science mentor for 3 years, and I really like how I get to pair up with mentees and help them out throughout their school year. Sometimes I even like come when we have like, if we have a class together, I come and study with mentees, so it's like testing them and helping them through a class. And if like I don't know, or if I'm not in the classroom, usually I ask my friends like, oh, do you take this course before? Can you kind of help our mentee a little bit, how we're struggling with this material, which is nice. And then another thing that I'm really involved with is definitely international student group. I was the ambassador, welcome ambassador for international student group, a senior peer, which is similar to science mentor. And I'm also on the committee to kind of like give advice, well, not exactly give advice, but more like have a voice for international students. Yeah.
Thanks, Tuna. Do you want to talk about your fourth year at all and what research you're doing this year?
Oh, I guess maybe I didn't clear it up, but yeah, my 4 years, I'm currently for my research question, I'm looking at how does feedback, which is something we see nowadays, like we're learning, we got feedback, right? And how does that can change, influence people optimism on their performance.
Fascinating. That's really cool. Excellent. Okay, thank you so much. We'll call on you at the very end when we go through a few more slides because we're almost done. So definitely students always ask, you know, can I find a job when I finish my science degree? And absolutely, you can absolutely find a job. You're going to learn lots of skills in your degree program. It's just, you know, where do you want to go with your degree? We have one of the highest employment rates for our graduates in the country, which is great. And you can also access the internship program in the Faculty of Science, no matter what program you're in, if you're in general, specialization, or honors. So you can absolutely add that to your degree and get some relevant work experience. And if you're just curious what you can do with a particular field of study, I would advise you to go to this link, uab.ca/science careers. You can check out, you know, if I studied pharmacology or if I studied chemistry, what are the skills I would learn, what could I be and where could I work, and who might hire me. So different employers are listed. By no means is it meant to be an infinite, like a definite list of all you can accomplish, because by the time you get to the University of Alberta, finish your degree, I'm sure there's going to be new career opportunities for you. So now that we touched on the degree program, I do want to highlight how you can be admitted to the Faculty of Science. So essentially, when you are trying to get into our faculty or any faculty at the University of Alberta, you need to present high school courses. So we only use high school courses in average to admit a student. And so these are the 5 courses that we require in the Faculty of Science. We need your English 30-1, your Math 30-1, 2 courses from that list of science courses. So we can use Chemistry 30, Biology 30, Physics 30, Math 31, or Computing Science Advanced, as long as it's 5 credit. And then the 5th subject can actually be one of 100. So it can be a fine arts course, so, you know, drama, music, art. It could be a humanities course like social or Aboriginal studies in the -1 stream. It can be any language like Chinese 30, I've seen Ukrainian 30, Spanish 30, Japanese 30, or another math or science course. So this one we can actually use science 30. The most important thing to remember here is that when you're applying, it's best to just give us a list of everything, because we do our part and it's our job to look at the list of courses that you have, and we will use the 5 that we need for our faculty, and we'll always take the highest marks to give you the best possible average. So you can actually apply as early as October 1st during your grade 12 year, and it's open until March 1st. There are definitely advantages to applying earlier because there's a scholarship deadline for other application-based scholarships where you would, you know, talk about your leadership and volunteering. If you want to apply for those other scholarships, you'd have to submit an application prior to that scholarship deadline, which is typically the 2nd week of December. It's also really important to understand that when you apply, if you're not admitted when you first apply, it's not the end of the road, so don't panic. We will assess you actually multiple times in the year as long as you're giving us new final marks. So for example, if you're applying in October and maybe you only did 1 or 2 grade 12 courses, or maybe you did none during your grade 11 year, we can use final grade 11 marks to admit a student. It just tends to be a little bit more competitive if we're only looking at your grade 11 marks. Or most students actually present like 4 grade 11 marks and 1 grade 12 mark. So leave that to us. Just give us a list of everything, all of your final grade 11 marks, any completed final grade 12 marks, and a list of also what you're going to be taking during your grade 12 year. And we'll do the rest. And then you just want to keep checking your email. And if you have new final marks that come in and you haven't been admitted yet, be sure to log back into your application and update those new final marks so we can recalculate your average. And on your application, you can put a first choice and a second choice. So you can put the Faculty of Science as your first choice, and definitely be strategic with your second choice. You can put a different faculty that uses a different set of 5 courses. That would be a really strategic way to do your application. It's not really beneficial to put 2 Faculty of Science programs as your first and second choice because most of our programs are admitting at the same average. And so if you have it listed as your first choice and your second choice, if you don't get in, then you don't have a backup plan. So that's just a really good tip. All right. So now that you know the courses, it's important to know that we also have high school course prerequisites for the specialization and honors programs. So I've seen this happen many times before. For example, a student has applied to the, say, biochemistry program, the honors biochemistry program, and they, for some reason, got admitted on their English 30-1, their math 30-1, they took biology 30, and then they took physics 30, and then they had a social mark for their 5th subject. So they were actually admitted to the biochemistry honors program, but in order to be successful or actually do well in that program and the course sequence that you have, you need chemistry 30. So make sure that you check the list of high school course prerequisites because you can be admitted on a 5 set of courses, and that can differ from the course prerequisites for the particular program. So if that does happen to you though, students are able to take courses in summer school and make sure that they have them done before they start in September at the University of Alberta. So just a little nuance that you need to be aware of. And if you ever need assistance finding this information, then that's where we come in. You can send us an email at any time, science.recruiting@ualberta.ca. We usually get back to students within a day or 2, and we're happy to help you out with whatever it might be about the programs that you're interested in, application, or whatever questions you might have.